Hello, I'm Mike, this is Will, we are the Tabletop Donkeys.
Hello.
Today we're going to be bringing you a look at the 9th edition Open War cards as a part of our introduction to open play using the miniatures from Conquest. Open play it was mentioned in the magazine, but it's essentially a anything goes version of Warhammer 40,000, so you can kind of make up your own rules a little bit. You don't need to adhere exactly to everything. It's the way to play if you just want to get some models on the table quickly and not care too much about sort of minutiae of having an exactly balanced army points-wise or power-wise. So the open war cards are essentially sort of a random mission generator, so you can generate an objective deployment style and some sort of twist that will affect the game. There's also some ruses which give benefits to a player who's down on points or power, and also some sudden death objectives if one player is particularly low on power. In the spirit of open play, we're going to pick 6 units from the Conquest collection to be our armies, rather than going by power or points. And we're also going to be looking at September 2020's issue of White Dwarf, which has a supplement for the Silver Templars. So we'll be using some rules from that. So we'll show you the units we picked to be our armies, and then set up the battlefield, and then get into what mission we'll be generating with the open war cards. Right, so here's the 6 units I've picked, and I've ended up with a patrol detachment. So down in the front we have a chaplain and a lieutenant. We've got a unit of 5 assault intercessors from Indomitus, or the new starter sets. A unit of aggressors, the sniper scouts with a missile launcher, and the Redemptor dreadnought. So my warlord will be the chaplain, and he is going to have the Benediction of Fury relic, so that replaces his Crozius, so it gives him +2 strength, AP -2, 3 damage, and if he rolls a 6 to wound, he causes a mortal wound in addition. I'm going to spend a command point to make him a Master of Sanctity, so he knows an additional litany and can use an additional litany. And I'm going to give him the Wise Orator warlord trait, so he can reroll failed litany rolls. So in the end he'll know the Litany of Hate as the default reroll hit rolls in melee, Exaltation of Rage, which essentially gives units near him Death to the Traitors for free, and the Mantra of Strength gives him an extra attack and strength and damage with his melee weapons. And the last one is March from Macragge, which we get for being an Ultramarine successor, but we're going to rename it March from Navarus, which lets you reroll advance and charge rolls of 1 for units nearby if it's successful. And I'm going to be spending 2 more command points, one to give the Lieutenant the Burning Blade relic, and another to give him the Accomplished Duelist warlord trait, which is one of the new Silver Templars ones, which means in the fight phase, if he is able to be picked to fight, he can always fight first, and also if he charges, is charged, or performs heroic intervention, he can reroll wound rolls on that turn. So I'll be starting the game with 3 command points. And as I mentioned before, we're going to be using the new Silver Templar supplement from White Dwarf. So we have the Bond Marshal chapter trait, which is essentially the same as Duelists and Master Artisans from the Codex, but you don't get the reroll to wound from Master Artisan, so it's slightly worse, but we are going to use that. And here's the 6 Death Guard units we were selected. So we have the Plague Surgeon, a Plague Marine Champion, who is going to be proxied as a Chaos Lord, so he'll have a Plague Sword, a Power Fist, and a Bolt Gun. We've got a unit of 7 Plague Marines, so the champion has a Plague Sword and a Power Fist and a Bolt Pistol. There's a Plasma Gun, a Blight Launcher and the Icon of Despair. We have the Myphitic Blight Hauler, and we've got a unit of 10 Cultists and a unit of 20 Poxwalkers.
And then my warlord will be the Chaos Lord. He can't normally have a bolt gun or a plague sword, and he's not going to come with a bolt pistol. But because it's open play, as long as your opponent agrees, it's fine to do things like this. It's not going to skew the game in any way, because they both cost 0 points. The army is going to be from Mortarian's Chosen Sons Plague Company, and he's going to have the warlord trait that comes with them, which is called Crawling Pustulence, which means he's -1 to be hit in melee, and if a unit tries to fall back from within an inch of him, as long as it doesn't fly, on a 2+, it takes D3 mortal wounds. He's also going to have the relic, the Suppurating Plate, which gives him a 2+ save and might reflect mortal wounds back to people who hit him. I'm going to spend command point to give him the Contaminated Monstrosity stratagem, which gives him Disgustingly Resilient, which he doesn't have by default, so it's just to make him fit in a bit more with the Death Guard army. And then I'm going to spend another command point for the Mortarian's Chosen Sons stratagem, Alembical Narthesium, which gives the Plague Surgeon. It replaces his rule for rerolling 1s for Disgustingly Resilient and lets you reroll 1s and 2s instead for units within 3 inches. So that means I'll be starting the game with 4 command points.
So we set up our battlefield before we draw cards to see what our objective and deployment types are. So on the left we have the Mechanicus board with a load of armour containers and some ruins. The tractors are going to be obstacles that give you light cover if you're behind them. The crane is also going to be dense cover over there, so if you're standing behind it, it's -1 to hit you. Tank traps are going to be battlefield debris, and the large Mechanica structures like the Hemotrope reactor and the Alchemite stack are going to be obscuring so you can't shoot through it, but the little pipes hanging off will give you light cover, and any fuel drums and ammo crates are going to be obstacles. And there's some fuel pipes as well over on the spaceport board, more Hemotrope reactors and barrels and another set of ruins. So hopefully it should be a fairly good range of line of sight blocking things depending on what deployment type we get. So we've got our 3 decks of open war cards. Since we didn't use power to muster our armies, we're not going to use a ruse or sudden death. So we have our objective, deployment type, and a twist. So our objective is going to be take and hold. So we'll roll off and we'll play 6 objectives, starting with the winner of the roll off, and they have to be more than 6 inches from a battlefield edge and 12 inches from each other. And then starting from the second battle round, at the end of our respective command phases, we'll gain a victory point for each objective we control, and whoever has the most victory points at the end wins. And our deployment style, it's going to be sort of chevrons across from the short edges, so there'll be an 18-inch, it'll end 18 inches from the centre of the battlefield, but we actually do meet in the middle. That should be interesting. And finally our twist is going to be Tempest, so models that are more than 18 inches away from the attacking unit gain the benefit of light cover. So now we've drawn all our cards, we're going to set up our objectives. So we set up our 6 objectives. We've got one over here in the ruin, one up here near the armoured containers, one over here near the crane. Then there's one down here next to these ruins. There's one right in the middle next to one of the tractors, and a creepy little robot down here next to a Hemotrope reactor. So now we will roll off to decide who's the attacker and the defender. The defender gets to choose their deployment zone and deploys the first unit, and we'll probably come back after deployment. So we rolled off, and I decided I'm the defender, so I deployed the first unit, and I deployed these scouts down here so that they're taking this objective. And the rest of my army will end up in the middle, with the dreadnought at the tip of the spear, the assault intercessors, the 2 characters, and the aggressors just behind it. And then over on the Death Guard side, we've got the big unit of Poxwalkers with the Plague Surgeon near the top, the Blight Hauler, the Chaos Lord with the Plague Marines, and down here, the Cultists. So now we'll roll off to see who chooses the first turn. So rolling off to see who chooses the first turn. I got a 3.
1.
I'm going to go first. So we'll head into Space Marines, turn 1. So at the start of my command phase, the chaplain can use his litany. So I'm going to start with the March for Macragge, or Navarus in our case, getting a 3. Getting 5, so that allows everyone within 6 inches of him to reroll advanced and charge rolls of 1. And then we're just going to try and do Litany of Hate in the highly unlikely event the Dreadnought ends up in melee. I failed with a 2, but I get to reroll it for free because of Wise Orator, and I get it with a 3. So I'll also gain a command point. The Dreadnought's going to move up normally, I'll show you the results of that in a second, but everyone around the chaplain, including him, is going to advance, and as long as they start within 6 inches, they can reroll advance rolls 1. So the Assault Intercessors get to get an extra 3, the Lieutenant an extra 6, and the Aggressors an extra 5, and the Chaplain himself an extra 4. So after my movement, the Dreadnought moved up normally, the Assault Intercessors and the Chaplain advanced, they come up behind, and the Chaplain does hold the sword objective over here. Up at the top, the Aggressors and the Lieutenant have moved around, and they hold that objective up there. So we'll be on to the shooting phase. So I'm going to start shooting with the Sniper Scouts. They'll put their sniper rifles into the Cultists, and a frag missile into the Poxwalkers. So I'll do the Snipers first. We've got 4 shots hitting on 3s. There's 1 hit, and it wounds on a 3. It wounded, it's an ordinary wound.
And it's AP -1 because of the Devastated Doctrine.
But you have light cover because you're in a ruin,
so
and it's a long way away.
Yeah, and the Gale. So 6+. Nope.
So it's a dead cultist. And then the frag missile into the Poxwalkers. There are more than 11 Poxwalkers in that unit, so we'll actually just get the maximum number of possible shots, or 6 shots automatically. Yeah, and that's due to the new blast weapon trait the missile launcher has. So we've got 6 shots hitting on 3s, 4 hits, and wounding on 3s, 2 wounds. It ignores the cover because of
because Devastated Doctrine, and I've got 5+ discussing resilient, rerolling 1s and 2s thanks to the special Plague Surgeon stratagem, so I can reroll that 1. Nope, that's 2 dead. I'll just take 2 off the back.
My only other shooting is the Dreadnought, so I'll put the heavy onslaught Gatling cannon into the Plague Marines, which you can just about see around the corner, and then the frag grenade launchers into the Cultists. So the frag assault launchers are also blast weapons, and they're shooting at a unit with more than 5 models but less than 10, so they'll get a minimum of 3 hits on the Cultists. And they are separate weapons, so the first one gets 1 hit, so he gets 3 hits, and 1 hit, so he gets 3 hits, so he gets 6 hits. Or 6 shots, sorry.
Yeah.
6 shots hitting on 3s. We got 4 hits. Wounding on 3s. 3 wounds.
This doesn't have any AP, I am in cover, so I get 5 plus armour save. Made 2, oh, so only 1 more cultist die.
So down to 8.
Take that one.
And the heavy onslaught Gatling cannon into the Plague Marines. 12 shots hitting on 3s. It's going to be 6 hits. Wounding on 4s. 3 wounds.
AP -2, but cover, so 4 plus armour save. Oh, made all of them.
That's the last of my shooting, but at the end of the turn, the cultists have to make a morale test.
So they lost 2 and their leadership 6, so not a high number. Ah, that is a fail. So this is the new morale rules. 1 model will run away, and I now have to roll a d6 for every model remaining in the unit, and on a 1 they will run away.
So 1 cultist runs away.
And then there are 7 left, so any 1s, there'll be more running. That's 2 1s, so
2 more run away.
2 runs away. So the other melee guy ran away, and then we lose these 2 as well.
With that over, it's the end of my turn, so it's on to Death Guard turn 1.
So in my movement phase, the remaining cultists have moved up. They need to get within 3 inches of that objective, and hopefully they'll still be there at the start of my next command phase, because we don't start scoring points until turn 2. Then the Blight Hauler moved along, got within 12 inches of the Dreadnought for the 2 dice on the multi-melter, and the Plague Marines moved out as well, so they can see things to shoot at. The Chaos Lord and the Plague Surgeon are hiding behind the Hematrit Reactor, but making sure their auras are in range of everything. Well, 1 Poxwalker has moved out to take that objective, and the rest are going to stand behind this thing because they're going to be roasted by the aggressors in a minute anyway. Moving them out is just inviting more attacks on them, basically, so it's going to stay there for the moment. In the shooting phase, we'll start with the Blight Hauler. It's going to put all its guns into the Dreadnought.
Yeah, and since it's being attacked, I'm going to spend a command point to play Duty Eternal on the Dreadnought, so we'll take 1 less damage from any attacks. And also, the Death Guard got a command point in their command phase.
Well, we'll start with the Multi-Melter, I suppose. 1 shot hitting on 4 rerolling 1s because of the Chaos Lord. Well, that's a hit. Wounds on a 3. It doesn't, but I think that's where I spend my command point for reroll. Down to 4, and that is a wound.
Yep.
No save, within 12 inches, so 2 dice picked highest. Double 1 for damage. I've used my command reroll.
Yep, but minimum 1, so the Dreadnought it goes down to 12 wounds.
Then we'll do the Crack Missile on 4. Nope, missed. Wild Spurt, D3 shots for 2, hitting on 4s, rerolling that 1. 2 hits, wounding on 5s, rerolling 1s because it is a plague weapon. No, nothing. We'll do the shooting with the Plague Marines next. We're going to put everything into the Assault Intercessors, apart from this bolt gun man here who can't see them. Basically because the edge of where this stops being obscuring is in the way, so it's kind of infinitely tall there. But you can see the Dreadnoughts who shoot that. And I will spend a command point for Virulent Rounds to give the bolt guns, make them plague weapons, and if they roll a 6 to wound, it's AP -4. And actually, yeah, slight adjustment. This champion only has a bolt pistol, so he'll have to shoot that with the Dreadnought as well, because it's anything in range.
Right.
Oh, and I do have to declare I'm overcharging the plasma gun, but I'm going to shoot it first anyway. 2 shots hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s. That's 2 hits. Wounding on 2s. That's 2 wounds.
6 plus armour saves. Fail both, so that's 2 dead intercessors.
And then the Blight Launcher hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s. That's 1 hit. Wounds on a 3. It's a wound.
5 plus save. Made it.
3 bolt guns at the intercessors. We've got 6 shots hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s. Oh, a lot of 2s.
That's 2 hits.
Wounding on 4s, rerolling 1s. 6s are AP -4. 1 wound.
3 plus save. Made it.
And 3 bolt pistol and bolt gun shots at the Dreadnought, hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s. They will hit. Wounding on 5s, 6s are AP -4. Rerolling 1s because they are plague weapons. Ooh, into a 6.
Yeah, good wound. 1 3 plus save and 1 straight through. Well, I failed the 3 plus save, so it takes 2 damage. Dreadnought's down to 10. And 2 intercessors are dead, so I'll take 2 off the back. So that's the end of Death Guard turn 1, on Space Marines turn 2. So at the start of the battle round we switch to the Tactical Doctrine, and in my command phase I will do my Catechisms. So I'm going to do March of Macragge, Stroke Navaris on 3, I get that, and Exhortation of Rage, so that's anyone within 6 inches of him in melee gets an extra attack on a 6, basically death to the False Emperor on 3, get that as well. I also gain 3 victory points for holding 3 objectives, so the one in the middle with the Chaplain, the Sniper Scouts and the Lieutenant in the top, and I gain a command point. So I finished my movement. The Scouts aren't going to move, so I won't show them, but the Intercessors and the Dreadnought have moved up normally. The Chaplain has advanced to get him, so you'll be in range of any melees going on with those Plague Marines, And the aggressors have moved up, and they're all just within 8 inches of that Poxwalker that's in between the 2 pipes. And the lieutenant has moved up a little bit, so he's still within 3 inches of that objective. So it'll be on to the shooting phase. So at the start of the phase, I'm going to spend a command point for Wisdom of the Ancients on the Dreadnought. But I'm actually going to start shooting with the scouts. We're going to put our sniper rifles into the cultists and the missile launcher man. Oh, sorry, actually the missile launcher man did move a bit, actually, I forgot about that. He moved so that he can just about see the Blight Walls over the top of the ruins. So I'll start with the missile launcher. We did move, but we're Ultramarines, so we count as not moving while we're in the tactical doctrine. So one shot hitting on a 3. Missed, but I can re-roll because of Bond Marshal, which I completely forgot in the first turn. But I got a 2 and missed. And then we got 4 sniper rifle shots, hitting on 3s. Well, we got 1 again. It's the wind. It's really far away. Wounding on 3s, nothing. So now we'll move on to the Dreadnought. It's just going to put everything into the Plague Marines. So we'll start with the Gatling Cannon. 12 shots hitting on 3s, re-rolling 1s because of Wisdom of the Ancients. And I'll re-roll one of those 2s with Bond Marshal as well. So we've got 3 re-rolls into 2 more hits. So that'll be 10 hits. Wounding on 4s. Get that one in the box. Oh, well, that was a fail. So that'll be 5 wounds.
8 for -1, but I have got cover from the Blight Hauler, so 3+. Failed 2. And Disgusting Resilient, re-rolling 1s and 2s. Oh, 3, get that in the box. No, 2 fails.
And then we've got 2d6 shots from the frag grenade launchers. 6 shots. Sorry, 7 shots, because that 2 gets upgraded to a 3, because there were more than 5 Plague Marines at the start of shooting. So 7 shots hitting on 3s, rolling 1s. They all hit. Wounding on 5s. 2 wounds. 8 on this one.
Yep, tactical doctrine. So 3+ again. Oh, another fail. 5+. No.
And d6 heavy flamer shots. 5. Wounding on 4s. 1. Also 8 on this one.
Another 2. Ooh. And 5+. Oh yeah, that made that.
So 3 Plague Marines dead in total.
Obviously that's going to be the 3 normal men with bolt guns who are not much use for anything else.
So I'll do the Intercessors next. We'll fire the Plasma Pistol at the Plague Marines. I'm not going to supercharge. And the other 2, one will throw a frag grenade at the Cultists, and the last guy will fire his pistol at the Plague Marines as well, actually. So normal mode Plasma Pistol, hitting on 3s. He hits. Wounding on 3s. He wounds.
5+ save, thanks to cover. No. And 5+ Disgusting Resilient. No. Oh, but I can re-roll that because of Plague Surgeon. Oh, into a 5.
Yeah. And then the frag grenade, d6 shots, 3. Hitting on 3s. 1 hit. Oh, I can re-roll that 1, sorry. 2 hits. Wounding on 3s. 2 wounds.
I'll put these on the people who are in cover, so we'll get a 5+ save. Oh no, failed both.
2 dead cultists. And a bolt pistol, or a heavy bolt pistol shot at the Plague Marines. Hits on a 3. Doesn't. I'll re-roll 1s. It hits. Wounding on 5s. Oh, wounds. If you want this one.
3+. Made it. So these 2 cultists have to die because I took them on people in cover.
And the last of my shooting is the aggressors. They're going to shoot at those Poxwalkers because they're just within range. And because they count as having not moved, because we're Ultramarines, I can shoot twice. So that's 4d6 flamer shots each. So we've got 12d6 automatic hits. It's 45 hits. So I'll do them in 2 batches. I've got 23 dice now. Wounding on 3s, re-rolling 1s because of the lieutenant. So re-rolling the 1s into 3 more wounds, so that's 21 wounds so far, and the other 22 hits, and re-rolling the 1s into 3 more wounds, so that's 38 wounds in total.
So I'll roll 2 batches of 19. Because of in tactical doctrine, I don't get any cover of any sort because it will negate any cover I get, -1. So these are 5s, but re-rolling 1s and 2s because of the Plague Surgeon.
Oh, a fair few 5s. So
9 so far, re-rolling these 1s and 2s.
So yes, if you look closely you will see that I cannot count. There were in fact only 8 there. But they will all be dead soon enough anyway, so it wouldn't have made any difference.
Rolling those. Oh, that's another 3. So. And then the second batch of 19. Oh, that's...
Oh, blimey.
Yeah, so that was 12. Alright, so then re-roll these 2 1s. To another one.
So only 13 Poxwalkers will die.
Wow. Well, there's only 5 left, but I'm surprised there's any left at all, to be honest. But
just measured, and apparently the left-hand is in range to shoot his bolt pistol, so I might as well shoot it at the Poxwalkers as well. 1 shot hitting on a 3, because technically this is using the old data sheet. And we roll a 1, but you can re-roll that because of Bomb Marshal. He hits. Wounds on 3. Re-roll 1 to be wounded.
I can actually take this on someone in cover, because it has no AP at the moment. So 6. No. And 5 rerolling ones, 2s. Another
That's
dead.
another dead box walker.
I'll take away this one.
So in the charge phase, the Dreadnought is going to charge those Plague Marines.
Right, I won't Overwatch.
So we're going to need a reasonable number. 4. So we measured, and that's not going to be enough, so I'm going to spend a command point to re-roll that. And get an 8, that's definitely enough, and I'm down to 2 command points. So the Intercessors are also going to charge, and they're going to charge the Cultists just to take this objective. So the Intercessors charge, they get 10, so they'll finish their charge like that, and still maintaining 6 inches to the champion. The Aggressors are going to charge the Poxwalkers. So Aggressors are going to need a 7, they get 10. So the Aggressors will finish their charge like that. So at the start of the fight phase, I'm going to spend a command point to put Wisdom of the Ancients on the Dreadnought again, so that will affect the Intercessors as well. And I'm going to pick the Intercessors to fight first. So we have 13 attacks, re-rolling hitting on 3s, re-rolling 1s, and 6s generate another attack and automatically wound because of Bond Marshal. So there's only 1 auto wound. Well, I can re-roll 1 of those hits from Bond Marshal and all those ones because of the Dreadnought. So all the re-rolls. So after the re-rolls we get another 6 and 2 more hits. And then the 2 6s we've got generate 2 more attacks, with which I get an extra hit.
So you just need to roll one wound from
so we've got 2 automatic wounds which will kill because the swords are AP -1. And then we've got 9 hits and we need to get 1 3. Hey, we got 3. So the 3 remaining cultists will be killed.
Yeah. So I can just spend 2 command points to interrupt the sequence and fight with my Plague Marines. If I can just do a couple of wounds, then I might be able to bring it down a bracket, which will be good, so they'll pile in a bit. The champion is within half an inch of someone who's in half an inch, so he can fight.
Yep.
And I'm also going to spend a command point for Creeping Blight, so that's all my command points. So if I roll a 6 to wound, it's AP -4, unmodified obviously, and add +1 to damage rolls. Not damage of weapons, but damage rolls, so that would only be for the Power Fist. Which I will do first, so it's going to be hitting on 4s, re-rolling 1s.
You get an extra attack.
Chaos Lord. Oh yeah, an extra attack, because I was charged. Still doesn't help, only 1 hit. Wounds on a 3, that's a wound.
6 plus save. Yes.
That's quite useful. And then I got 6 attacks from Plague Knives, hitting on 3s, re-rolling 1s.
Yeah, you got an extra 1 from death.
Yeah, so generate extra attack, which hits. Wounding on 5, 6 is AP -4. Re-rolling that 1. Oh, is it AP -4?
So that will do damage.
And a normal 1.
And then a 3 plus save, which I made. So the Dreadnought takes 1 damage and goes down to 9.
Yeah.
So the Dreadnought gets 5 attacks, re-roll, hitting on 3s, re-rolling 1s, 6s automatically wound, and generate an extra attack. I can re-roll one of these because of Bond Marshal, or into a 6. So that's 2 automatic wounds and 2 hits, and then 2 extra attacks. So that's another automatic wound. 2 ordinary hits, wounding on 2s. So it's 4 wounds.
6 plus. Nope, made none.
Right, so we'll do this all individually. D6 damage apiece. The first one, 6.
So 6 damage. I moved out of range of the Plague Surgeon, which was foolish. Oh, well, you make 3, but that's 1 dead.
Splat. Next one is 3 damage.
Dead.
Next one is 4 damage.
Dead.
And the last one is 4 damage.
Dead. So they are wiped out.
And then the Dreadnought will consolidate into the Blight Hauler. And finally we have the Aggressors. So they have 13 attacks, hitting on 4s, Flamestorm Gauntlets, and 6s automatically wound. I can reroll 1 because of Bond Marshal though. Into a hit. So there's 3 automatic wounds, 4 wound rolls of 2 plus. And they all wound. So first one, 2 damage.
Dead. Oh, well.
Next one, 2 damage.
Dead.
Next one, 1 damage.
Oh, lives.
4 more to go. 3 on the 4th one.
Dead.
5th one, 3 damage as well.
Yeah, and that's it. That's dead. That's all of them.
And that's all of them. All those Poxwalkers are destroyed. And the Blight Hauler gets to fight back.
We've got 3 attacks hitting on charge, hitting on 4s. Re-rolling 1s because of that Chaos Lord. Oh, nothing at all.
And it's on to Death Guard turn 2. So in the command phase, the Death Guard gain a command point, but no victory points because they don't control any objectives.
And my movement is quite simple because I've only got a few models left. 2 characters will move over here, try and wrest this objective from these aggressors. And the Blight Hauler is going to stay in melee with the Dreadnought because, new for 9th edition, vehicle weapons can be fired when you're within engagement range of an enemy. So hopefully, be able to take some wounds off it.
We'll get -1 to hit though, firing a heavy weapon.
Yes, but I'm at the point where I need to take some gambles and hopefully put it off. And I'll start with shooting with that, so I have to fire everything at the Dreadnought. Well, I can declare targets outside of melee, but I could only shoot those if the thing that I'm in melee with gets killed earlier in the phase. But I'm going to shoot everything at the Dreadnought, and the multi-melter and crack missile will be at -1 to hit. So we'll start with the multi-melter, hits on a 5. No, crack missile also hits on a 5. No, and the Chaos Lord is too far away to reroll 1s. And then just got the Bile Spurt, D3 shots, 2, hitting on 4s because it isn't a heavy weapon. 1 hit. Wounds on a 5, rerolling 1s. Oh, wounded.
4 plus armor save. I'm fine anyway.
And then both of these characters are going to throw crack grenades at the aggressors. They will get cover from being behind the pipe, but start with the Chaos Lord, hitting on a 2, rerolling 1s. That's a hit. Wounds on a 3. That's a wound.
So it's AP -1, but I've got cover, so 3 plus save. Made it with a 4.
Plague Surgeon hitting on a 3, rerolling 1s. That's a hit. Wounding on a 3. No, okay, we'll save our command point. I want to do something else later. So.
Okay, so that's the end of the shooting phase.
Onto the charge phase. We will declare a charge. We'll do the Chaos Lord first into the aggressors.
I'm going to spend a command point to use Overwatch. And then the aggressors don't count as having moved, because we're an Ultramarine Successor chapter, so we'll get 12d6 automatic hits, because they can shoot twice. So we've got 48 hits in total. Wounding on 4. So far we've got 14 wounds. And the second batch of 24 hits. And that's going to be another 16 wounds, so 30 in total.
So I'll do these in 2 loads of 15. I've got a 2 plus save because he has that from his relic. +1 for cover, -1 for tactical doctrine. So there's 2 1s so far for the first lot. Second batch. Another 2 1s. So he's not going to die. So 4 disgusting resilience on 5s, rerolling 1s on 2s. Ooh, 1 on a 2, made 1. Okay, he only takes 2 wounds from all of that, so that's not a terrible outcome.
Down to 3.
We don't want low numbers here. 9 is loads. So he's going to come round there, and then the Plague Surgeon will charge as well. Rolling for the Plague Surgeon, he gets a 7. And he'll come over here. With the reduction for going over the difficult ground that is these pipes, I can't quite get around the far side, which I prefer, but that will be enough. In the fight phase, we'll start with the Chaos Lord, pile in around as far as he can. And I'm going to spend my command point for Creeping Blight again, which is AP -4 on a modified 6 to wound, and +1 to damage roll, so this will be D3 +1. I've got 5 attacks hitting on 3s, because -1 hit. Rerolling 1s, there's 2 2s there. Wounding on 3s, 2.
6 plus saves. Oh, made neither.
D3 +1 damage. These have 3 wounds.
Yep.
The first one does 4 wounds.
So he's dead.
And the second one also does 4 wounds.
So that's 2 dead aggressors. So I'll take away the 2 regular aggressors.
And then I will consolidate into that one to stay in melee. And then we'll go with the Plague Surgeon, who will pile in a bit. Yeah.
So the Plague Surgeon's piled in, just rotated the objective so he can fit.
Then he has 4 attacks because he charged, hitting on 2s because he's attacking a Space Marine, rerolling 1s. 2 1s. Right, and then we've got
3 death to the False Emperors.
Yep, because of his +1 to hit. They all hit too, so that's 7 hits. Wounding on 4s because he's Adeptus Astartes. 5 wounds.
Yeah. 6 plus saves. I only made 1, so he'll die. Aggressors are wiped out. And now that the charges have gone, I get to pick first now, because 9th edition. So obviously the Dreadnought's going to go. Move a little bit. So Dreadnought is still within 6 inches, so he'll get the benefit from Exhortation of Rage. So we have 4 attacks hitting on 4s because the Blight Hauler smells bad. 6s automatically wound and generate an extra attack. Oh, we got 1 hit, but it generated an extra attack, which also missed. Just remember that Duelist doesn't apply against vehicles, so the Dreadnought won't automatically wound it, so it'll be wounding on a 2. Whew, it wounded.
So just a 5 plus a vulnerable save, which I failed.
D6 damage, 5.
Ignoring these on 5s. Ignore 2.
So it stands at 5 wounds. The Blight Hauler will get to bite the Dreadnought back.
3 attacks hitting on 4s. Oh wait, 2 hits. Wounding on 5s, 1 wound.
It's AP -2, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
5 plus save, no. So Dreadnought's down to 8. And that will be the end of Death Guard turn 2. On to Space Marines turn 3. At the start of the battle round, I'm going to change to the Assault Doctrine, so all my pistols and melee weapons will have an extra -1 EP. In my command phase, I'll gain a command point, and I control 3 objectives, so that would be 3 victory points, and I'm up to 6. I'm going to choose the Chaplain's Catechisms, So we're going to go for Exhortation of Rage, which is the free Death to the Traitors essentially on a 3+, get that. And Mantra of Strength, which will increase his attacks and strength by 1 and the damage of his weapon by 1. Also get that. So my movement phase up at the top, the Lieutenant and the Chaplain are going to move towards the 2 Death Guard characters. And down at the bottom, the Assault Intercessors are going to move towards the Blighthauler, and actually these 2 Intercessors here, with their heavy bolt pistols, are actually just about in range of the Plague Surgeon as well. So I'll start the shooting phase with the 2 heavy bolt pistols from the Intercessors. They can shoot at the characters, because they aren't within 3 inches of a friendly unit. So we've got 2 shots hitting on 3s, they both hit, wounding on 5s, 2 wounds, AP minus 2.
Yeah, because Assault Doctrine 5s. Made 1, disgustingly resilient. Made it.
So next I'm going to do my scouts. So 3 of the snipers are in range of the Chaos Lord. So we'll put 3 snipers and the crack missile into the Lord, and the last remaining sniper has to shoot at the Plague Surgeon. So I'll start with the crack missile, hitting on a 3. He hits. Yeah, it's wounding on a 2. He wounds. So you've got cover, so it's only AP minus 1.
Yeah, because it's a long way away. So 3+. Oh dear. Don't have a command point.
D6 damage. 6.
5+ is rerolling 1s and 2s. Oh, it doesn't matter. Even with the reroll of the 2s, he's taken 3 wounds there.
So the Chaos Lord will be exploded. And then we've got a single sniper shot at the Plague Surgeon. That hit. Wounds on a 5. No. Over here we've got the 2 characters. I'll do the Lieutenant. He'll throw a crack grenade at the Plague Surgeon. So he's hitting on a 3 because we're using the Codex version of the Lieutenant, not the one from Indomitus. He hits. Wounds on a 3. Oh, we're running 1s because he is a Lieutenant. Wounded.
4+.
Yep. Do 2 damage. 2.
Disgustingly resilient. Rerolling 1s and 2s. Nope, takes 2 damage.
So he's down to 2. And the Chaplain's going to fire his Absolver bolt pistol at the Plague Surgeon because it's damage 2 because we're using the Indomitus version of the Chaplain. So he's got 1 shot hitting on a 3. He hits. Wounds on a 4, rerolling 1s. That's a wound.
AP minus 2 because Assault Doctrine. Failed, needed a 5. Disgustingly resilient. Rerolling 1s and 2s. No. So Plague Surgeon gets his head blown off.
Gets pistol. And finally we've got the Dreadnought to shoot. So it can fire its heavy onslaught Gatling cannon and its heavy flamer at the Blighthauler. So you've got 12 shots hitting on 4s because we're firing a heavy weapon into melee. And looks like 5 hits. Wounding on 5s. And there's 2 wounds.
4+. Made both.
And the heavy flamer gets d6 hits. 5. Also wounding on 5s. 2 more.
2 more 4+. Made 1, failed 1. Ignoring it on 5. Nope.
Finally in the charge phase, the Intercessors will charge the Blighthauler. Charge distance is 7, that's easy enough to get in. So the Intercessors will finish their charge like that, and they'll get to fight first in the fight phase. I'm going to spend my command point to play Gene Wrought Might on them, so that when they roll a 6 to hit they automatically wound, because Duelist does not apply to vehicles. We have 13 attacks, hitting on 4s. 6s automatically wound. Well, there's no 6s. 6 hits, wounding on 5s, 2 wounds. AP minus 2 though.
Yep, 5+. Made 1, failed 1. Disgustingly resilient. Oh, made it. No damage from them. Now the Blighthauler gets to attack, and it will try and bite the Dreadnought, because if I can reduce it down a bracket, it will be hitting worse. 3 attacks hitting on 4s. So try and get them in the box. Oh, they all missed. Yeah.
Blighthauler was charged, so it gets an extra attack.
Hit on 4, I still missed.
And the Dreadnought will get to hit back, and it's not within 6 inches of the Chaplain. So we've got 4 attacks hitting on 4s. Oh, they will miss. Yeah, so that's the end of my turn 3.
And I will concede the game at this point because I have a wounded Blighthauler left that can't take objectives and no victory points.
So that'll be a Space Marine victory. So we'll recap all this for you now. So that was our look at the new Silver Templars Codex Supplement and the 9th edition Open War cards. How did you think that battle went?
Honestly, not any different to how I expected it to go. I guess we might as well just address it straight on. Unfortunately, the reality of the game right now is that if you pick an arbitrary selection of Space Marine units and an arbitrary selection of some other army, the Space Marines are likely to win simply because they have so many extra rules and power stuff going for them. I'm sure I could have made an army to beat your army that you took, like more Plague Marines, perhaps the Plague Burst Crawler, but that wasn't really the point of this exercise.
And I think also partially we wanted to show off some of the new 9th edition rules that we didn't show off in our first game, like how blast weapons affect large units, Marines. I think perhaps I'd gotten so used to playing with the Space Marines from the magazine that I perhaps underestimated how good they would be. I think the Chaplain was much more effective than I perhaps thought he would be.
Well, the thing is, I mean, I don't think you brought a super optimised or really competitive list as such. I think you brought an interesting list with an interesting collection of units and a kind of theme to it, and some good synergies. Basically, you brought a mostly melee army with some scouts.
And we worked out the power as well afterwards, and I think my army was 32 power and yours was 31.
Yeah, so it's not even like... Some people aren't keen on playing games where you haven't deliberately tried to balance the points, I guess because you're worried about balance and stuff like that. I mean, it just goes to show that actually balance isn't all in making sure the armies are of equal value. Also, deployment going first, general quality of the armies in general, I think, is a big factor. And equally, you could say, well, I could have brought a 32 power army which was comprised completely differently and probably would have done a lot better. So that goes to show that power and points aren't everything.
Yeah, I mean, open play is the more run with it kind of style of play, but with the open war cards, you have the sudden death and the ruses and stuff that help imbalances, but I think you have to specifically set out to do that rather than take armies and then find out that, oh, I am half.
Yeah, I think it actually says if you used points or power to build your army and you have a lower power or points rating, you get a ruse. But we didn't do that, we just brought some random units. But even then, as you say, the power was roughly equivalent, so...
I continually forgot Bond Marshal as well, and still won pretty handily.
And at one point I did forget to shoot with my cultists, but I mean, whatever, it was a few auto guns and wouldn't have affected the course of the battle, I don't think, so... Me
making all my charges in the second turn certainly didn't help,
Well, I guess the thing about open war cards is you never know what you're going to get out of the cards, and the deployment helps you quite a bit, I think.
Yeah, and I think going first really helped a lot as well, just with the way the objective worked. On my second turn, I was able to take your two objectives.
Yeah. I do think I made some mistakes in playing as well, like, although the objective of the game was to take objectives, I think in hindsight perhaps sending the cultists out and the poxwalkers out, well, the fact I moved that poxwalker out meant that you didn't have to advance to shoot with your aggressors, which meant they then got to charge and destroy all the poxwalkers, and which actually got you onto another objective.
So yeah, I think your chaplain is only 4 power. Well, I did give him a relic and spend command points to make him a master of sanctity and stuff.
Yeah, you did actually spend a few command points at the beginning. Do you think that was a good choice?
For the chaplain, I mean, for the lieutenant, no, because he didn't do anything, so that's 2 command points wasted. But definitely the master of sanctity and...
having the extra litany every turn and re-rolling, and the litanies did help. I mean, the extra attacks on 6s meant you killed all the plague marines with the dreadnought, for example.
Yeah, I think your plague surgeon, I think that was worth spending a command point to give him the re-roll 1s and 2s.
Yeah, I think in the past I've found that re-rolling 1s on Disgustingly Resilient just doesn't really add up over the course of the game, but 1s and 2s did seem to do something. And having Chaos Lord for the re-roll 1s aura does actually really help Death Guard in general. And yes, the Chaos Lord doesn't have the option for a bolt gun or a plague sword, but firstly they both cost 0 points, as does the bolt pistol we were replacing, so that doesn't really matter. So it's not in his war gear options, but as long as your opponent's happy with it, then really there's not really any reason.
I'm not sure if he even fired his bolt gun at all.
No, he didn't, and nor did he use his sword, so it actually made absolutely no difference in this game at all. The whole point of open play really is you can play the game however you want. It kind of even says this in the rulebook that, you know, if you want to make up new rules or try out new stuff or come up with a cool scenario to do stuff, you're very free to do that. I mean, there's no reason why you can't do that in a match play game as long as your opponent agrees, to be honest, but open play is kind of the sandbox, I guess, where you can do that if you want. Yeah. And actually one of the chapter-approved books, I can't remember exactly which one, actually has rules for doing like custom characters. And it's minor things, like you can improve their weapons slightly or their characteristics slightly, and it's designed for open play, but it just gives you a bit more character in your own army. You make up your own characters. Then you can... on the open war cards as well, obviously, are they're an open play thing because they could potentially be horrendously imbalanced. I mean, there's things like you can get some deployment setups that will be completely imbalanced for one side, but the thing is, using open war cards, you probably kind of expect that kind of thing, and it presents a challenge for the person who gets bunged with the unfavourable setup, I guess. That's kind of the point of the open war cards, is see what comes out and then make the best of the situation.
It does say if you draw one that will make for a really unbalanced game, or it's just not the game you want to play, just draw another one. And there was one objective which would have been based on the number of models destroyed, because we weren't using power or points to pick our units, and that would have been extremely unbalanced in my favour. Also, these were the 9th edition open war cards, and they are actually different from the 8th edition ones. I don't see why you couldn't just use the 8th edition ones in addition, or combine the decks, give you even more choices.
Well, we saw a few more of the terrain rules from 9th edition in this game, things like the barricades and the ruins a little bit. Don't think it really had a huge effect on the game.
Mostly just gave things cover.
Main thing actually is it blocked the line of sight for the scouts against most of the decent targets, and meant they had to shoot at cultists a lot.
Yeah, we learned that line of sight blocking terrain is a good thing.
Yes.
This time round.
And we tried to to put a bit of line of sight blocking terrain spaced around the board so that it wasn't just a first turn shoot fest for whoever went first. But obviously we used the new Assault Intercessors from the Indomitors or from the new starter sets.
I brought them because I painted them, basically.
It would be better to see what they did if they charged into something like Plague Marines or something, I guess. The cultists weren't really any opposition for them.
I think sort of the main issue for them is you have to wait until turn 3 to get into the Assault Doctrine, and they get the most benefit out of it.
But even then, they still get 4 attacks each on the charge at AP -1, so it's quite a lot. And we used a new Chaplain from Indomitors because...
Well, it's the same profile, it's just a different
It's a
model.
Chaplain model, you just used the old model.
And that model I used looks like Oathkeeper Hecaton anyway.
So
where he just gained an extra damage on his bolt pistol.
And made his Liddy's in the command phase rather than
beginning
of the turn, but that's academic. It did mean you were using 5 books for your army, actually, overall.
So you have the Space Marine Codex, the Ultramarine Supplement, Faith and Fury Psychic Awakening, the Indomitus Rulebook, and September 2020 White Dwarf for the Silver Templars. So I guess we could now talk about the Silver Templar supplement. So you got the Bond Marshal Chapter Tactic, which is basically Duelists plus Master Artisan Successor Tactic. The Warlord traits, Accomplished Duelist, I think it's quite good. If the model is in with engagement range, it can fight first. There's also Precision Commander, which you choose a Primaris core unit within 6 inches of him, so we don't really know what core units are. And it effectively gives that unit Master Artisans from the Successor Tactics, so they can reroll a hit and a wound. And then Spiritual Synergy is a slightly worse version of the one from the Ultramarines book. Whenever your warlord rolled a 6 to wound, they caused a mortal wound in addition. Spiritual Synergy is you pick one of their weapons, and it can't be a relic. And then the 2 relics, there's an armor you can give to a Primaris model, which lets them ignore AP -1s and 2s. It's just reduced to 0. Which is okay, actually. I think it's actually quite good for lieutenants and librarians as well, who don't have invulnerable saves, I guess. And the other one is a banner you give to a Primaris Ancient, and then once per battle, you can give friendly Silver Templars Primaris core units within 6 inches of him, +1 attacks. Yeah, and the 2 stratagems. There's the Swordsman's Strike. When a Silver Templar's Primaris core unit shoots, +1 to hit against characters, basically. It's not too bad.
Situational, I guess.
And the other one, which is quite good, is called Claim Runes, and is when a Silver Templar's Primaris unit, if when it's selected to fight, it was within engagement range, so an inch of an enemy unit with more models than itself, then until the end of the phase, it gets +1 strength and an extra -1 to its armor penetration. They didn't really get to use it, but that would be really good, specifically against the Death Guard. Also useful for characters as well, because they're basically always going to be outnumbered. But I would say that all of this stuff here certainly fit with the Silver Templars background. I also like how Bond Marshal was just the ones I came up with. It's just the ones I picked. It has a lot of background stuff in it. That's pretty much all the background stuff from the source book, which we showed off in our other video. And it also has a little painting guide, which is actually pretty much exactly the same way I painted mine. Whereas the Silver Templars painting guide was a tiny bit different. It's not a bad little supplement.
No.
Yeah, well, I don't think there's too much more to say about this battle. So if you like this content, please leave a like and subscribe. If you play with the open war cards, tell us some of your favourite combinations. We might try them out with these 2 armies. And also your opinions on the Silver Templars supplement, and maybe even the Assault Intercessors as well, if you have any of them. Well, we've been the Tabletop Donkeys, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye for now.